Hi friends, welcome back to my channel once again. So now I am here with a physics lesson, that is a new chapter of laws of motion for class 9 based on the latest ICSE syllabus. So this is our first physics chapter in this channel. So let's get introduced with the concepts. Firstly, what is force? Force is the push or pull which can change the state of rest or motion of a body, that is, it can produce and alter the motion of a body. Here are few examples. Force can change the size and shape of a body, that is, force can bring change in dimension. Here are few examples of the same. Let us know the two types of force, that is contact and non-contact force. Now what is contact force? The forces applied on a body making a physical contact with them are called contact forces. Here are few examples. We will study them all in detail. So this is the diagram of a book on a table. So when we slide the book in one direction, then it will start to slide and will automatically come to rest after some time. Actually, when the book slides in one direction, an opposite force works on the opposite direction. So this force which acts on the body in a direction opposite to the motion of the body along the surface in contact is called a frictional force. Like here, the table is being pushed to the right side, the force of friction acts on the left side. There can be many other examples as well. Secondly, we have normal reaction force. Here you can see the diagram of a block on a hand. So here the body, that is the block, exerts a force downward which is equal to the block's weight. But you see here that the block does not fall. What is the reason? Because the surface, that is the palm, exerts an equal and opposite force on the body normal to the surface, which is called the normal reaction force. So in this case, the equal and opposite force is exerted by our palms. Similarly, if a greater force is applied on a smaller force, then the greater force will fall or sink. Like suppose a paper is suspended freely from 4 strings on the 4 sides. And if I place a heavy iron on this, the paper will automatically tear as the force exerted by the iron block is more than that of the force exerted by the paper on it. Nextly, we have the tensional force by string. Here, as we can see, a block or a body is being suspended by a string which is fixed on a rigid support. Similarly, the weight of the body is pulling it downwards. And as a result, a tension is being developed in the string which is equal to the weight of the body. Hence, it also exerts an equal amount of opposite force and therefore can balance the weight of the body on the support. Force developed by the string is known as tensional force of the string. Here the diagram shows that both the forces are in equilibrium position. Nextly, we have force exerted by a spring. So in diagram A, you can see that a spring in a original position is shown, which is suspended from a fixed end. Now suppose if we pull the spring, a force in the opposite direction is developed. This is known as the restoring force. Here the magnitude of the force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the displacement. That is, in this case, is elongation. So we can use spring balance with this principle. Now if we compress or push the spring, then the restoring force works in the opposite direction. So this is similar as the previous case. Now here I attach two objects A and B, and the spring is in its normal form with no force acting on each object A and B. Now if I push each object A and B towards each other, a restoring force acts in the opposite direction, and hence the compressed spring pushes away the objects due to the restoring force. Similarly, if I pull both the objects, then the restoring force will push the objects towards each other, and hence the stretched string pulls the objects towards each other. Lastly, we have force of collision or force exerted during collision. Here two objects A and B are moving towards each other, and when the two bodies collide, they push each other. As a result, an equal and opposite force acts on each of the body. So these forces are known as the force of action and force of reaction. Here A is the bigger object and B is the smaller object. So while the objects collided, B exerted a force on A and A exerted a force on B. So when B exerts a force on A, it is known as force AB. And similarly, when A exerts a force on B, it is known as force BA. As a result of the force of action and reaction, the bodies move apart from each other after collision.